Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to talk about China specifically, but really more in a general context of nations and countries. We know that the COVID-19, the China originated virus identifying number 19 virus, started in Wuhan, China. The current debate is, and the investigations that are ongoing, and maybe this information is even already known, it's just has not been released yet to the public, is this debate between, did it start in a market between the animals, the unusual animals that were there being sold, and the unsanitary conditions that occur, and then all of a sudden this virus was created essentially in this open market, if you will, or was it actually created in the Wuhan lab and purposely released? The point is, it doesn't necessarily really matter. It's here. Everybody has to deal with it. All across the globe, hundreds of nations. I think it's over, the total number of affected is over 180. Some nations across the globe have to deal with the ramifications of what happened there, at least what we know in Wuhan, China. But the government, the communists, the party, has certainly made a lot of decisions that have been very detrimental to the entire globe. So, and this mainly, even though, yes, people are absolutely dying from this virus, that this virus is, as I said in the last video, far less deadly than originally anticipated or originally told to everyone from all the experts. This is going to be as I said before, Dr. Brooks says this is an incredibly contagious disease, and that's just not supported by the numbers. In fact, a lot of, again, disinformation is coming out about those original recommendations that the whole entire world needs to shut down in order to combat this. Yet there was organizations, there was countries. We had the United States needed to make a decision to let people from China in or not. Donald Trump early on in the process said, nope, let's stop the people coming in from China except for U.S. citizens that were in China and needed to get back to the United States, and make decisions with, listen, we need to stop people coming from Europe because there's a huge outbreak in Europe, so on and so forth. So these nations are kind of now making decisions globally on who can go where, and information that's traveling around the world about what's happening with death rates and with infection rates and all of that. And we know with certainty now, through a lot of information that's already been made public, that China has not been forthcoming on a lot of these fronts, on the infection rate, on the fact that the virus can jump from one human to the other. We now know that it's mainly by contact. You touch a surface, someone, let's say, coughs in their hands, touches a surface like a handrail at a bus station or at an airport, and then another person touches that, and then they touch their face, then the virus is then entered in through the eyes, nose, or the mouth. So one doctor who was right at ground zero, excuse me, in New York City, said, just don't touch your face. We're all training ourselves in the medical profession and not touch our face. Just continue to keep washing our hands. And the virus itself is water soluble. So the best thing you could do is just wash your hands with hot water and soap. So it's not as contagious. It's contagious in the fact that it's contact, but the flu is infecting and killing more people across the globe than this virus is. So there's disinformation out there that in these organizations in different countries are definitely suppressing for some purpose. I'll get into some of these non-conspiratorial, but my opinion theories about what's actually going on in another couple of videos, but there's a few other players that I want to identify. But there's no, it's no secret that the Chinese government is no fan of the United States of America. The United States of America has a position in the world of a global superpower, an economic superpower that the Chinese government has been taking advantage of for a long, long time. And what better way to, let's say, bring down, if you're a government, and this could be one contributing factor to why China has not been very forthcoming up front about what this virus actually can do, and then how these governments across the world, which I think is still a bad decision by all countries, that they completely shut their entire economies down. But as far as the Chinese are concerned, they have economic issues to deal with, and what better way to actually level the playing field across the world and certainly affect and infect the United States of America to stop that economy, to bring it down to a level, more of a level, balanced playing field. China knew this, right? They certainly didn't allow people about this virus. They did not allow people from Wuhan, China to travel to Beijing, right? They kept them out of Beijing because they knew that, yeah, there's definitely human-to-human transmission that is occurring. While they said early on, no, there's no human-to-human transmission that's allowed or that occurs. But they did allow people to leave China and go all across the world. So there could be obviously an extremely evil and nefarious agenda behind this virus as far as China is concerned, right? They may have a lot of human lives, blood on their hands because of this, especially if it's been found that this was intentionally released because of this, using this market as cover, as that's the origination point, but it's not necessarily the case. And the specifics of that, again, is not necessarily the intention of this video. The fact of the matter is there are governments out there, there are nations that want to just dominate and simply destroy other nations. And this is nothing new. There's been totalitarian governments and just evil rulers throughout history that have prayed and wanted, thought of global dominance and controlling mass populations and controlling the world. Governments are really no different. Governments, however, always remember, are a collection of individuals. They're a collection of human beings. Governments of themselves are just a collection of buildings that do nothing to affect anything. Once we erect these buildings, they sit there unoccupied. It's the people that technically are what is behind governments. So that means that there is a group, a collection of people in governments that, when you talk about an evil empire or a totalitarian government that is trying to inflict its will and its dominance across the world, as what China may have done. That's a collection of people that have all got together to create this policy of potentially, in this case, with this pandemic, is that let's go ahead and bring the entire world to an economic halt, bring them maybe down to our level. Let's wipe out value and of stock markets, of real estate, of shut down businesses, close people all across the globe, and bring economic depression across the globe to bring people down. China already deals with an incredibly, talk about polarization in a country. You have people in Beijing and in many cities that live very, very well, and you have a lot of people in rural areas and other areas that live well below what we would consider even poverty-stricken levels. And their people are, videos and information is coming out from the people in China that they are uprising. They're really, really upset about this as well. So it's no secret. The Chinese Communist Party is, a very ruling, destructive force in the world. So it's just important to remember that you have these types of governments that can make decisions as a collective body of individuals on a government facade or a government basis or a nation basis that affects the world. And this is one such case. So the important thing that we should remember, and we should learn from this, is that at any time, a government can become extremely, it can become a force that is going to change what the entire world has to deal with at any one moment. This can happen with nuclear weapons, with bioweapons, with force, military force, with economic, with cyber crimes, with all sorts of things. So we should always start getting ourselves prepared that when we get over this situation, there's always that possibility of other countries creating these types of just global disruptions. So that's the most important thing to remember. But yeah, China is definitely, it looks like they've got a lot to answer for as far as this pandemic is concerned. And I have full faith that God's going to reveal and allow people to hone in and understand exactly what happens. And a lot of people that probably are going to get connected to this economic shutdown and just complete destruction of economies all over the world. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.